Good afternoon. As John Hooper said, I'm Kevin Jagoe, and I work with a lot of different organizations, one of which is First Unitarian Society. And I'm here to give a few examples, as David did, of things that you can take back to your group, congregation, fellowship, etc., that would be applicable and hopefully useful as well. So I posit that humanists are, in fact, joiners. We often say we are not, but here we all are. And I believe that many, many people out there that fit these demographics that David talked about are, in fact, joiners. But as he was saying, we're not offering the thing they want to join. So I have a few examples of things that perhaps they would want to join. Oh, sorry, I got ahead of myself a little. So the question I have is, what can we offer humanists, atheists, non-theistic UUs, that's Starbucks, the library, and these liberal Christian communities, or LCCs, might not have? So like he said, we can't beat them. We're not going to give a better cup of coffee as Starbucks in as many locations. We're not going to give as many amenities as the giant libraries in the Twin Cities that we have. And as David posits, we are not going to beat them at being open Christian communities or Christian-like communities, not light-like communities. One program that we piloted this year that David alluded to, we call After Brunch, where you can meet new people, make new friends, and explore new things. And I wouldn't say this is a mission statement, but maybe a statement of purpose. We are creating and promoting casual meetup spaces for young adults in the Uptown, Loring Park, and surrounding neighborhoods. So the neighborhoods that are very populous near our congregational home and fairly young, and 20, 30-somethings are pretty common there. They're buying a lot of these new condos that are going up that we're getting offers for our land, and they're hopefully looking for something to do. So we do something in the afternoon or early evening every Sunday of the month, and we do a different thing in a different location on a cycle so that there's a calendar that people can come to, and only one of them happens in our building. The way we do this is through meetup.com. Which many of the other groups that David talked about as our partners use to organize. And since 10/10 of 2014, we have 121 people that are post-brunchers on our meetup page. They've freely signed up for this. We've paid $0 to advertise this group. We pay a small fee for the meetup page. And the other thing I will say is, only a handful of these are actual current members of First Unitarian Society. So these are all potential new members or new non-members that may perhaps be affiliated with us in some non-formal way. So what do? The first Sunday of every month, we do coffee and conversation at Loring Park Dumb Brothers, which is within walking distance of our building, but it's not in our building. The second Sunday, we advertise for that Sunday assembly group that we were talking about earlier, that atheist church group that gets the headlines, even though we've been doing atheist church for a little bit longer than them. But they get the headlines, but they also are in our building. So this is the one that happens in our building. It's not even our own service, but we advertise for them. They come, and they now know where we are. The third Sunday of the month, we do a Connect and Reflect happy hour at Loring Kitchen and Bar, which is just across the street from Loring Park Dumb Brothers and within walking distance of our building. The fourth Sunday, we just do gaming at a local coffee shop, which also happens to be a leather boutique and LGBT community center. So another space that is meeting a lot of needs for a lot of people, but once again, it is within an easy ride on a bus from our building. So this idea that if people start to come to these things regularly, they might perhaps eventually fall into our building. Yes? Yes. Yeah. That is the one that's in our building. That's the only thing that our after brunch program does that's actually in our physical space. So and that's the one we give free space to, and that's affiliated with the larger Sunday Assemblies movement that started in the UK. Yep, and that's the one that David said we kind of consider our second service that Sunday. And once again, very little overlap with our current community. So often I think that a lot of these groups, we find that we start off this thing and it's all the same people. Well, we're serving them in different ways. So the idea is here, how can you reach out to these other people that are not already affiliating with you? So that's one area, is having a program like that is an outreach effort, that is not asking people to be a member. We're rarely asking them to even know where we are. We don't put a lot of branding on it as far as First Unitarian Society. It's on there that we're a sponsor of it, but this is kind of it's a marketing scheme mostly. But it's also a place for people to go. They never have to become members. There's no pressure at that point to join, to give money, anything like that. I will say one of the advantages of doing things like this, we pay $0 for any of these other spaces we use. And obviously we don't pay for our own building. Or well, we pay for our own building. We don't pay extra for our own building. So the cost of it is time and the cost of the meetup group. So this is all outreach stuff. People are gathering, they're getting together, they're chatting, they're hopefully making friends. And they're getting to know me because I'm at all of these, and I'm a staff member at First Unitarian Society. So it's an outreach effort, but it's informal. The other thing that we can do is formal humanist programming, where we can claim that loud and proud. We can offer unapologetically humanist things to do. UU congregations that aren't like us, where we're a kind of a specialist congregation, can still do all of the things that they already do, but by putting out there that you have humanist and atheist groups, whether that's an extra service, a book group, stuff like that, you can tap that market in your own area by saying that this is the humanist thing that we're going to do, whether that's in your building or not. So another thing is where to start to get curriculum or content or ideas of what you might do with people should you actually get them to gather together in a room, or perhaps not. But one is that the other organization I work with is the Humanist Institute. We offer online courses. Now, these are completely online courses. Many of them are free of charge, but you can take them offline. Once you have access to the courses, we're not asking you for money, so you can use them. You can make them into a quote-unquote reading group, an RE curricula. We have 21 different topics of multiple levels that you could use. Other things, we do have some paid courses, one of which is called Bringing Humanism Home. What this will be, it's still in the process, is a curricula geared at ages 3 to 18 that covers these 5 areas: self to self, self to others, self to community, self to the natural environment, and self to the future. So it starts with the self and starts to go out in concentric circles. And this gets at this idea that many small groups do not have RE programming that David was talking about. Well, we're building an RE curriculum that will be available very, very cheaply anywhere in the world that you can download and adapt to your own personal use. Yeah. Oh, yeah, wow, that's not visible. It's very visible here, sorry about that. It's called Bringing Humanism Home, but it's available at this CoachR online humanist education site. So cohe.humanistinstitute.org, or you can go to just humanistinstitute.org, and it's our online courses. So we've designed these to be completely online so that people that have no community whatsoever can use them and find them. And we have, for these courses, in the range of 1,300 people signed up for them worldwide currently. So of various courses, that's all courses, not just these specific ones. But the idea of this being that when it's done, it's an RE curriculum, and it's age-appropriate curricula and all these topics from ages 3 all the way to 18. So you can use a part of it, you can adapt it, but it's going to be there. Next is actually looking at our amazing UU programs that we already do well. We do these really, really well. We don't talk about them well, like we do with our congregations. We don't advertise ourselves very well. The 3 that I want to talk about are Our Whole Lives, which you may have heard of, Neighboring Faiths, which many congregations do, and the Coming of Age process or credo writing process. The idea of all of these are currently, we mostly do these for our youth. And we do high quality, really, really high quality sexual education for our youth, we do great programming around neighboring faiths and learning about other traditions of the world. And many of us do a great coming of age process where our youth think about writing their own creed, since we're a creedless community, and what their worldview should be. These things are great. These are also the things I most hear about from our adult members that they wish they'd had. These are the things that, and many of UU people come into our faith as adults, they miss these. They want them. Well, Our Whole Lives is an excellent curriculum that's already out there by the UUA. They have this for both young adults and adults. You have to be trained to offer them, but they're out there. And I really highly recommend finding ways to offer them. And the nice thing about this, you don't have to be a UU congregation to offer them. You have to be trained to offer them, but you don't have to be a UU congregation to offer them. Neighboring faiths, I think that we could do a lot of great outreach around this by adapting that idea of visiting other religious communities and learning about them thoughtfully for an adult cohort every year, and we're working on doing that at First Unitarian Society. And the coming of age process, while we perhaps might have come of age, I think that developing one's personal worldview is something that, well, I've been doing it a lot as I enter seminary. Not a lot of adults get the time to set aside and think about, what do I think that my personal worldview is? We've offered this course in the past at First Unitarian Society with our previous minister, Kendall Gibbons, who's here. And it's something that we're going to bring back, because every time we do our youth service, where the kids get up there and read their creeds, their credos, I get adults coming up being like, that was amazing. I would love to do that sometime. Well, we're going to do that this fall. So this idea that just because you're an adult and doesn't mean that you're not thinking about these things, I think is false. So these are 3 programs that many UU congregations do that can be adapted for both young people and adults that we should be offering more and more. And these are things that few of these other competitors out there are doing as well. Perhaps some of this neighboring faith business, and a couple of different denominations use Our Whole Lives, but the vast majority of people, this is where we can beat the market. This is the thing we can offer that few other places are doing. The last thing I want to talk about is Humanist Celebrants. This is another resource that the humanist community can bring that other places cannot do in the same way. The website for this is humanist-society.org, and what they do is, the Humanist Society, as many of you may know, applies humanism to daily life through a unique celebrant program, education, and community involvement. And what that means in practicality is they train people to perform rituals for non-theists, mostly weddings, but the truth is that they have programming throughout the entire lifespan. So baby namings or welcomings, coming of age programs, weddings, as well as memorials. And the weddings and memorials are where the most interest comes through us, is that people are looking for alternatives to a Christian light or a Christian-like memorial or wedding. They want something that represents themselves. And the fact of the matter is, there are still states that have 0 registered humanist celebrants, and there are states that, like Minnesota, has 5, which sounds like a lot. We're turning people away. So people that would like to be married by us, by a humanist, are not getting married by us. They're being married by other people, whether that be a justice of the peace, a very liberal Christian, their brother who got certified online in a day, but things like that we can offer. And whether you don't have a professional staff, you're a volunteer-run organization, or or you have people like David in your congregation, but he can't be doing stuff for tons and tons of visitors and people that aren't members, because we've got members. You can employ humanist celebrants as quote-unquote community ministers that can be your officiants for those cold call people that are looking for people like us to do these services. And the nice thing about this is they can make a buck doing this too. So that they can charge their honorariums and stuff like that. They can advertise our building to use it for these services, or if you don't have a building, they can arrange that themselves. But it's another resource to offer the larger community that is not being offered by the Methodists, that is not being offered, they're going to slip God in there in some way, shape, or form. So for people that aren't looking for that, we have that option as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Maria so that she has time to talk, but I will be around for questions afterwards.
Hi, everyone. So now I get to talk about what you can do that's related to all of this. So how you can bring this home to your home